Hey everyone, it is Fiona Aedgar here. So I thought that I would make a short video about the upcoming full moon in Aquarius. This is happening at 3:36 a.m. That's UK time. Tonight, early tomorrow morning, July 24th. If you're in the States, it will be happening on the 23rd. Probably late in the evening sometime. So this is an interesting full moon. The moon itself is in the sign of Aquarius. It's the freedom fighter. It's chaotic. It's the mad scientist. It's the person who can think for themselves. So we have this here opposing the sun in Leo. Leo is your self-expression, your creativity, your ability to find joy within your life. It's also connected with children, romances, and all of that good stuff. So when we have a full moon, it means that these two are opposing each other. So these are two different life areas that you will have in your chart. And the purpose of the full moon, it's a time of completion. It's the end of a cycle. And we are kind of supposed to be finding a balance between these two. So you see this cluster of planets here that are sitting around the moon. So first of all, we've got Saturn. Now, it is a wide conjunction. So Saturn is at 10 degrees. The moon is at the first degree. I'm sure that anyone that follows me knows that I do not agree with most modern astrologers about orbs. So I consider these to be conjunct, okay? And I think that you will feel that. What is Saturn? It's the control system. It's the government. It's the restrictions that we are having on our freedoms right now. So the moon is this, it's basically your emotions. It's how everyone is feeling, okay? The full moon will fall into a different place in everyone's chart. Like, for example, this falls into my 9th house. But it's going to be different for you. So this Saturn is putting a dampener on the kind of emotional well-being of the people. And I think that's fairly obvious. The other thing to note is that Jupiter is at 0 degrees of Pisces. That means that he is moving back into Aquarius. Therefore, he will be in the same sign as Saturn again. It's a Saturn-Jupiter conjunction. Okay, so that Saturn-Jupiter conjunction that we had, I think it was at the end of last year. Yes, it was on the winter solstice. Has kind of kicked off everything in a big way. Reality is kind of split. It does tend to happen around the times of a Saturn-Jupiter conjunction. They're quite rare. They only happen every 20 years. I was born under one in Libra, but we also had one in the year 2000. And that's obviously shortly before we had the 9/11 thing. And there was a lot of restrictions that came after that. Society changed. That's what a Saturn and Jupiter conjunction really represents. So as Jupiter moves back into Aquarius, over the next few months, we are unfortunately going to see that divide, that split within society get bigger. At the end of the year, Jupiter will move back into Pisces. I think that's December 29th. I don't have a photographic memory, unfortunately, so, but what does this full moon mean? Well, first of all, it does mean that a lot of people are going to be making very difficult choices between freedom, joy, the ability to take pleasure from your everyday life without restrictions. But then the moon is full of restrictions here because it's conjunct Saturn. And I think you all know what I'm talking about. What do? Do you take the easy way so that you can have a unrestricted life, relatively? Or do you take the way of the rebel, the freedom fighter? It's up to you. I'm not going to influence any of your choices. But another interesting thing to note is that we have Chariklo conjunct the moon. Now she is really close. This is an exact conjunction. So what is Chariklo? She is a minor planet and she actually has rings around her. She sits between Saturn and Uranus, and she is, in terms of energy, she's pretty new to us in terms of our consciousness. So anytime that a planet is discovered, it actually symbolizes a change of consciousness collectively. She was discovered in 1997. So in mythology, Chariklo was actually Chiron's wife. Now Chiron is the teacher, the wounded healer, the maverick, the outcast. We don't have very many stories about her, but we do understand from using her in astrology, she represents compassion, feminine wisdom, healing. Most importantly, she's the archetype of the wise woman. So married to a wounded person, like Chiron was wounded, but he didn't wallow. There was no woe is me story. He was adopted. He learned all of these beautiful skills from Apollo and Artemis, and he just got on with things, right? So I think that we can take a bit of inspiration from that part of his story. No wallowing, no woe is me. Let's just deal with this. Let's get on with it. So Chariklo represents, in real life terms, the support that a wife can give to her husband during difficult times. So together, Chiron and Chariklo represent the ability to heal both paternal and maternal wounds, which we all need to do. So this planet Chariklo is encircled with rings. The rings represent healthy boundaries. Those are a form of love, both to ourselves and to others. Who is trying to step on your boundaries? Is it your partner? Is it the government? You get the idea. So Chariklo is journeying through the sign of Aquarius. She's going to be there for quite a long time, until 2028. The symbol of Aquarius is the water bearer, but the water actually represents knowledge. That is used to purify the land. This is why a lot of people make the mistake of thinking that Aquarius is a water sign, is because the water is on the symbol of Aquarius, but it's not the case. The water represents knowledge, which is actually an air issue. So over the next few years, more people will kind of... Now, here's the thing. There's a lot of arguments at the moment about spiritual awakening. Is it happening? Is it not? I will say yes, it is, but it's happening in terms of photonic energy, photonic consciousness. And is it going to affect most people? Probably not. But we are seeing certain people wakening up spiritually. So Chariklo was also known to be a shapeshifter. She could change forms between centaur and nymph. So she represents the adaptability to travel between the worlds in a shamanic sense. So if you are a practitioner of shamanism, the real stuff, not the new age shamanism where you go to a workshop, pay 500 quid and then they call you a shaman, totally false. So if you are on a shamanic path, you will have done so since birth. It's not something that you can learn to do over a weekend or even a year. Right? But if you can do that, there's a lot of knowledge that you can get from traveling to the shamanic worlds. Right now, I am doing an incredible amount of journeying at the moment because it's hard to get proper information anywhere else. So the dark side of Aquarius is, of course, the sci-fi stuff, technology, artificial intelligence, that is being weaponized against us. Personally, out of everything that is going on at the moment, I find AI the most terrifying part of it. It is absolutely terrifying. And yeah, who knows where that's going to end up? I find that more terrifying than the restrictions that are being placed upon us at the moment. Okay, so what can we do with this energy? Draw upon Chiron, draw upon Chariklo. Those archetypes, they will protect your consciousness. So as you can see here, Chariklo is actually making a loose sextile to Chiron. Right, that's really nice. A sextile is a good aspect. That means that the male healer, the female healer are actually working together this year. Drawing upon these archetypes is really going to help us. So what can you do? Study the Chironic arts, astrology, poetry, writing, alternative therapies, natural healing, and natural medicine. Now, I don't want to say too much here because I am on YouTube and I don't want to get banned, censored, whatever. But natural medicine can really help to heal you, especially if you're being forced to do certain things. That's all I'm going to say. So, I always say this, and it's so true, that it takes a Chiron person to understand another Chiron person. So go and read the article on my website, FionaAedgar.com, and it's called Chiron People, and see if you resonate with that. So other Chiron people are going to be your friends. If they're not Chiron people, you're not going to be able to connect with them. So something else that is happening, old relationships and friendships will fall away. We literally feel like we're in another dimension to those who stay stuck in the old energy of blindly following everything that they hear on the TV. More true now than it ever has been. So it's that dimensional split that is symbolized in the sky by Jupiter and Saturn. Okay, so over the next few years, Chariklo and Chiron forming this positive aspect together, it kind of means that many relationships will form between couples who are healers, who are Chiron people, outcasts, mavericks, the people that practice alternative therapies. They're going to come together. So that is a more positive thing that is going to happen amongst all of this madness. I'm not talking about twin flames. I think that is a total New Age lie. Anyone that I've met that's claimed to be in a twin flame relationship, it's always an abusive type of relationship. There's always one that disappears, runs away. The other one is left wondering where they went to. Those are dark Cupid relationships. If you don't know what that is, then go and look it up, okay? So if you're unsure about the type of relationship that you're in at the moment, astrology will tell you the truth. So if you would like an astrology reading, go to my website, FionaAedgar.com. I offer a number of different readings. So that's pretty much it for the next few weeks in terms of the impact of this full moon on our personal lives. Yes, it is going to be tough with this Saturn lurking in Aquarius. And of course, all of these things in Aquarius are ruled by Uranus. Uranus is in Taurus. What does that mean? Taurus is everyday life. It's your reality. It's the land that you walk on. It's the food that you eat. All of that is changing. Because Uranus is the kind of, like I say, mad scientist. He comes along and wrecks reality, changes it. So some people will notice a real shift in their consciousness. That's another thing that Uranus symbolizes. He was discovered in 1781, so he's been hanging out for a long time in terms of our ability to see that. And, you know, I know we are in the Kali Yuga, but I tell you what, I think that we're going backwards. I think that we're traveling backwards out of it. Reason being is because so many people do have knowledge. I know that's difficult to see. There are a lot of like meat golems, zombies, whatever. I know that, but there are also a lot of really enlightened people. And I'm not talking about like New Age enlightenment. I'm talking about connecting with their ancestral spirituality. Because of course, until recently, you could have been put to death by that. We're actually living in a time where if you live in certain countries, you have total freedom over your spiritual practices. Right? Let's not forget that. So that's one thing they can't control. Not yet. So make the most of that. But I do think that we're moving backwards out of this. All right? So let's just see how that unfolds. As always with astrology, there are some really good things and then there are more difficult things. The good things at the moment are in terms of your spirituality, your consciousness, knowledge that purifies the land. So tap into that. But look at your own chart to see where these two are lying in your chart. Like I say, it's going to be different for everyone because you'll have a different rising sign to most people. Well, that's it. I hope you're all well, guys. Have a lovely weekend, and I will be back again soon.